Okay. But you have meditated. So anyway, it's just introduction.
Okay,
Are you ready?
We walked on glass.
We walked on glass.
We can do anything.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Innate State. Russell, good to see you, bud. Today we've got a very interesting guest. His name is Cobus, the Viking Philosopher. And he's got a couple of tales to tell us. But we're first going to start with our meditation, 5 to 10 minutes, Cobus, just to center ourselves and get us in the place of a clean slate. Okay?
Perfect.
So we'll just make us sit up with our spine erect. And just take a couple of deep breaths. And just allow yourself to relax a little bit more in each out breath. When you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out. Cobus.
Andrew,
Welcome
thank you.
to the Innate State. Russell.
Cheers.
Cheers. How did that feel for you, Cobus?
Relaxing and
Settling
calming
a bit.
and settling.
Calming, eh? Yeah, I just find when I come from this place, it's just, you're coming from a bit of a place of like a clean slate, in a sense. I like to call it a clean slate, where you can, all that you've been thinking about during the day and whatever is kind of, you let it go and you're starting fresh again, you know.
Definitely, it's like
Yeah.
a refocus, a reset.
A reset.
Yeah.
I like that, reset. So, Cobus, I don't know your personal history very well, and I'd like you to go into a bit of that and show us, like, how did you get to this point? You know, I know you've got some kind of a blood illness. What is it called?
Called hemophilia.
Hemophilia. Please just explain to people what that is, Cobus.
Yeah, hemophilia is a bleeding disorder. It's also known as the royal disease. It comes from Queen Victoria's time. And it means basically my body doesn't produce factor 8 or plasma. It's a clotting factor. So I bleed very easily.
Okay.
Like walking on broken glass.
Yeah, that does sound like the thing you should be doing.
Yeah, do something like that.
Yeah.
And then I have to inject myself a clotting factor every few days.
Oh, that kind of a substitute for that.
Yes, so it's there's the injection site that I have to do it intravenously.
Yeah.
And the impact that bleeding has on me, it impacts your joints. So you usually bleed in your joints, and it eats away the cartilage, and it sort of disforms the bone.
So no, just how does it? So it bleeds more in the joints,
Inside.
So inside the body.
Yeah. Because the thing is, when you pick up something or you twist your ankle, it starts bleeding, but your body then sends the clotting factor to stop the bleeding in the inside.
Okay.
Yes. And
whereas yours doesn't do that.
Yeah, I will keep bleeding. It keeps swelling up. And you can see now.
I can see on your arm
you
there.
You can see my elbow. So there's sort of a bleeding there now. But this is my weakest arm. So you can see I don't have even muscles. So I can't exercise. I can't straighten them, touch my shoulder, can't turn my hand
which has
around.
been obviously limiting in your life.
Yeah,
but
and this is just my elbows. The same with my ankles.
No, I'm sure, everywhere.
Yeah.
So tell me, Cobus, you were born with it?
Born with that,
Is it hereditary?
It's hereditary. Only the mom is like the carrier and the boy is the one that manifests the disease, basically.
So you wouldn't be carrying it as such? If you were to have a child?
If I have a daughter,
there could be.
Their sons will have it, yeah.
Oh, their sons will have it. It's difficult.
It's about the X chromosome. So because mine is defective, it will then transition to the daughter, and the daughter will have that with her to be able, because a man is an XY and a woman is an XX.
Okay.
So the woman then has a 50-50 chance of her son to have it, and her daughter will then also be a carrier.
And then why do they call it the royal sickness?
So it comes from the royalty. So Tsar Nicholas is the last Tsar of Russia. His son Alexei had hemophilia. Queen Victoria, one child died because of hemophilia. There was other children with hemophilia. The royalty from Spain's kids. Yeah. So it comes also down to, don't want to say like inbreeding, but I think
possibly
that possible
at that
impact,
time. Yeah. Cousins and whatever's keeping it in the family.
Give it in the royal blood.
So maybe you come from royalty, Cobus.
Who knows that? Well, just
Viking royalty.
Yeah, just interesting. Different royalty. My great grandfather was the very first president of South Africa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was his name?
C.R. Swart, Charles
Okay.
Robert Swart, yeah, from 61 to 69. Also the last governor
That's interesting,
general.
eh?
So there is some royalty there.
Yeah. Your family's been here long, eh?
Yes.
So, Cobus, now on a personal note, obviously growing up with, in those early days when you were a kid, were they giving you the substitute or to assist you? Was that even something back in those days? That
Clotting factor.
the clotting?
Yeah, so when I was born, age expectancy was about 11 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and the medicine wasn't that evolved, but the medicine got evolved. At that times we had drips, it would hang, and it would take an hour just to get that in. So it was quite challenging from a young
age. As a kid as well, I mean.
Yes, and at that time the treatment was also reactive. So when you start bleeding, then you will only get the injections. That is also what damaged the joints even more.
Okay.
Where today it's more pre-active, so proactive, or what is the word, where it's done before, even if you don't have a bleed, you still get it. So prophylaxis.
Okay.
So you get it every 2 days, for example, you inject, even if you don't have any bleeds.
Okay, so it's just more efficient and easier.
Yeah, so the hemophilics born now, as it better, their joints are not as damaged as what mine is, for example.
Okay. So obviously, as it's evolved, it's become easier for kids that maybe have it.
Yeah. The thing is, I also could never play sport.
Yeah.
I had to sometimes go with crutches to school. Kids don't understand. You know, so
did they also give you a little bit of bullying?
Type of bullying.
But a bit of that kind of stuff, eh?
Yeah, because kids don't understand.
They don't understand, because I'm sure as a kid it must have been, it's something that you were frustrated about. Am I right? Or
because nobody understands. You have to explain it.
But even for yourself, like, it's
limiting.
It's a limiting, as a youngster, you see all your buddies going off, I don't know, playing rugby or going on jauls with their girlfriends or whatever, and you're not feeling lekker about because you can't, perhaps.
And sometimes
it's probably been tough.
And sometimes I do look normal when I was approached. You probably wouldn't have saw anything. But then I say I can't walk, my elbow is sore, my ankle is sore, and then
what's wrong with you?
Yeah. So to always explain it makes it a challenge. And also being in a relationship, because, having a woman in your life, even though you explain it, they don't know the reality of it, because now I'm getting older. The impact of that is only going to start being seen the older I get, because hemophilics have never been getting old. So how to treat what?
So your age now is considered flippant old.
Yeah.
In that
there's
category.
about 10 years people a little bit older than me.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of them even got AIDS, HIV during the 80s, late 70s, 80s, when that was there, because the plasma is a blood-derived product.
So they had gotten someone with HIV or AIDS and now put it into this.
Yeah, so they got it. I got, for example, hepatitis C.
Did you?
Yeah. I had to get treatment for that.
And these guys are still around, or they on those?
Some of them, like my cousin, is still
on that medicine as well, the RV, whatever they call that stuff.
Yeah.
No, but I just find it interesting. You're the first person I met that's had this, obviously. And did you find there was a lot of judgment? There must have been.
Yeah, there is. I think there's people that don't always understand.
People don't know. They don't understand. They judge. And were you? I mean, for yourself, were you in a place of perhaps, I don't know, blaming your fair parents or whatever, blaming life, blaming God?
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, why am I in this place? You're making me suffer. Am I right? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that it's human nature.
2 times it happened. One was when I had a bleeding on the brain. I have like a big scar here. That's the number one thing that kills hemophiliacs, is bleeding on the brain.
Okay.
It was 1996, standard 6, and ended up being in intensive care.
So it was a bit of touch and go there.
Yes. Yeah. And people were dying around you in ICU. And then I just prayed, come on, God, come and take me. And so I just didn't want to live.
Were you in a place you were down?
Yeah. Look, I've faced mental health challenges on a constant basis because I'm in pain 24/7.
Yeah.
After a while, you
get cutful now.
Yeah, to fight that pain and you have to do this and you have to do that, and you don't want to because you're in pain. Like my elbow is in pain.
Is that sore right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the driving and picking up stuff and computer and writing. because I'm right-handed, so it has that impact. And just to stay positive is a challenge.
For sure.
Another time that I wanted to give up is I went to climb a mountain, and I wanted to die on the mountain. I didn't want to come back.
Which mountain?
Kilimanjaro.
Did you want to die up there?
Yeah.
And how old were you at that stage, Cobus?
Well, it was 2018, 7 years ago. I was about 35 years old.
Okay.
And just went through a divorce and saw someone, a famous South African racing driver, passed away on the Nelson Mandela track on Kilimanjaro. And I said, well, if a fit guy dies, what will happen to me?
Yeah, but I've heard the fit guys sometimes do die on the Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
So you were like, I'm testing it.
Yeah, I'm pushing it to the limit. And I almost died on the mountain.
But I heard, I don't know if it was this trip that you did it on crutches.
Yes. To think about it.
Climbing in Kilimanjaro on crutches, bro.
Yeah, so
Go into that a little bit, man.
2015, I woke up and I couldn't walk. As a hemophilic, you inject usually a week, 2 weeks later, you can start moving your joint and you can start using it. And 2015, 1 week became a month became a few months. And I went to the doctor and they do x-rays. They said for my age and being young and the joint, my ankles, they have to fuse with bolts in it, so you can't move it, but you can at least have no pain.
You can walk, but you don't have the, you can't do the ankle.
Well, I can't already do it.
Okay. So did they fuse it?
No, they didn't.
They didn't. Okay.
I decided not to do it. And they wanted to replace my elbows. So do an elbow replacement as well.
I didn't know there was a thing. I've heard of knee replacements, but I guess elbows are also there.
Yeah. So before I went, I had to go for my operations because it would be 6 months per ankle and 3 months per elbow.
Basically, over a year of...
let's say 2 years.
Yeah,
journey.
2 years at least.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
And doing research, I'm like, damn, and before that, I had the experience of walking on fire. That had a big impact on my life. And I if I can walk on fire, I can do anything. And I learned about NLP, called Neuro-Linguistic Programming. You can program your body and your mind through your words. And, well, before I go going for the operations, I'm going to test this.
Let's try this out.
Yes. So I went on this journey, and then I think my wife ex-wife took it difficult, and so decided to leave, and that had an impact. And that put me on the path of Kilimanjaro. And I went to do it with my crutches, and since then I became healthier. However, I went for my x-rays last year. My x-rays is worse than they were.
Oh, really?
At that time. So the doctor's like, you're not supposed to be able to use your joints. So how come you do it? And I'm like, it's all about mind-body connection.
But tell me, so I want to go back to Kilimanjaro because I'm fascinated. So you went up there with crutches in the hope that somewhere along the line you were going to be one of the oaks that carry off on a stretcher in the body bag. And that obviously didn't happen. So when you got to the top, what was it like? There was a sense of there's an accomplishment that happened. Or was there like, I'm not actually dead. Well, I didn't do it right. I mean, I don't know.
It's almost like that.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I'm still alive,
Look, I had altitude sickness. So I was close to it. I couldn't breathe. I coughed and my oxygen level dropped to about 68, 72. And so they got worried.
Yeah.
And said, no, I must come down. And on my way down, I just couldn't. Every step that I take, I had to sit on. I just couldn't breatve.
I was just,
it felt like I was dying.
Yeah,
so I was like, and then I tell the chief guides and the guy that's walking with me, no, leave me, man. It's okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'm like, God, I'm waiting.
They're like, no, it's not going to happen, buddy.
So they call and send someone down, and they send up all 30 of the porters that were...
All 30? Yeah. This is a big oak.
Yeah, I was 30 kilograms more than what I'm now. And so they brought up a stretcher, and they gave me something to smoke to open the lungs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it didn't help 100%, but they got me on a stretcher, and they carried me down the mountain. So I was in a stretcher. I was fighting them.
But you got up, and that just helped you down.
Basically. And so the last camp that I was slept over, I got worse. And then the next morning, the one friend that was with us said, no, they need to do something. And so they called in a helicopter.
Oh,
And
is
so
it?
the helicopter
Okay, so
came
now
so I
that-
was close to dying,
was-
but there's
you're-
people that didn't want me there.
God didn't want you dead yet, eh?
Yeah. And so it was the best transformation of my life. I came back a new person. That whole process, I might have not died, figuratively,
Or like physically.
physically.
But you, on some level, something,
Yes.
maybe that negativity died.
Something in me
eh?
got
And something,
left behind. And
something
new came.
shifted.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yes.
It was like, would you call it a spiritual experience?
It was a spiritual, everyone that I get an opportunity to say, go climb a mountain. It
Yeah.
If you think about the history and religion, all transformation, where does it happen?
Yeah.
On a mountain.
No, mountains are very significant.
So I have a thing with my kids, and if they listen to this, is if they want to inherit anything, they have to go climb
climb a mountain.
Yeah. So the day I
Yeah.
die, the two sons have to go climb it together, so that they can see what I went through, but also give them that transformation.
Have you got
experience.
kids, Cobus?
I have two sons.
Okay, so they've also got this.
No, they don't have hemophilia, so I'm lucky.
Okay, thank
So-
goodness.
But I think
Yeah.
I can't play sport with them. I can't.
Yeah,
physical
it's
activities,
tough. That
and they don't
limiting.
always also understand.
Yeah. So after that Kilimanjaro, so what were you doing before?
Before that, I was
Work-wise, were you just
part of the family business.
Okay.
I went to study marketing, and then my dad said, "Okay, come in." And we had about 6 furniture stores in Limpopo. And he started it because of us being hemophiliacs. So me and my younger brother are hemophiliacs, because we won't be able to do physical work, and
you can still manage a shop, you can run a business kind of thing.
employers won't understand if you're always sick. That's the challenge.
Oh, you've been working for someone? No, for sure.
So he started the business, and so I joined it at that time. My brother was too young, and I helped my dad to grow it from 6 to 37 furniture stores.
Big shop.
And run everything. I brought in computers because I liked computers and software and all of that. And I thought that was going to be my future. And until my health challenges came up. And part of my health challenges was when my son wasn't born, I couldn't pick up my son. I couldn't hold my son. And we were expecting our second child. And while my second child was being born, my oldest drew a picture. And the impact it had, this was the life-changing moment in my life.
Okay.
This
is his book, by the way.
Was when he drew this picture. And he came to me, just for the audience.
And was that you? That was Dad?
Yeah. There's a cross over the one baby there. I don't know if you can see.
I'll put the picture.
We'll put it up, yeah. We'll put it up, yeah.
So there's a cross over the baby. He says, "Daddy, I don't want a little sister. I want a little brother that can play with me because you can't." And the words that changed my life is when he had a cross over me.
He said, "Well,
Dad, you are dead to me." Those words.
And he's a kid.
4 years old. I was in the audience once, and I shared this story, and he came and he cried, and he says, "Please forgive me. I was young. I didn't know what I was doing." And I said, "My son, if it was not for that,
it wouldn't have changed.
Nothing would have changed.
You wouldn't have been where you are now."
Yes, and I won't be doing what I'm doing now. So I sort of
it was a blessing.
Yes, it sort of helped me to find my purpose and the reason why I'm here. It gave me much more meaning in life to be able to.
That's big. Hey, there was a message given to you through him.
Now, one thing that changed that I learned on it, that he later on drew another picture and said, "Dad, you're alive," is something called a hug. And it's all about heart. We all need love and connection and recognition. So what I do is I teach people a 3-step process. One is to make eye contact. In South Africa, in Zulu, we have a beautiful word that says "sawubona."
Yeah.
It means I see you. I don't know if you've watched the Avatar movies.
Oh, yeah. I see you.
I see you.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's about the eyes are the windows of the soul, but it's also to take time with people and say, "But I see you and I recognize you." I don't think we do that.
Kind of an acknowledgement, just through the eyes.
And also, it shows you that you are present. The next is, this side is your heart. Heart represents love, life. So it's to hug heart to heart.
Okay.
And then the third step is to breathe in together. Part of your meditation as well is breathe in. And at that moment when you breathe together, you share a moment in time and space. And you're not in a rush. And you do it for 20 seconds or longer. So it's usually 3 breaths.
Yeah.
And then the brain releases serotonin and dopamine. So you actually feel good.
So sorry, you're doing that with in little kind of workshops, Cobus, or what is that?
I do it in workshops. I teach it to people. I teach
Yeah.
it to teams. And the idea around it is you don't even know what anyone is going through. And they might just need the hug. You might not love giving hugs, not you, but anyone that's listening.
Not everyone enjoys hugging. You know, when people hold back a little bit, you can always sense that, can you? I mean, you can.
Yeah. So I tell people this is an intentional hug. So you do it with intention. So when you see someone, you teach them the hug and say, "Can I give you a hug?" However, this is then people want to jump in a hug. Then you say, no, this is this.
Yeah, it's not just about.
It's like
slow down, check the eyes,
and then while you're checking the eyes, I've added things as to say, recognize a person. Just say something that is beautiful, like, "Thank you for being you. I'm so grateful for you, and I just want to say, I appreciate you.
Thank you for your time, your presence."
Yeah, whatever you want to say, because people also sometimes don't hear that they are being seen or being recognized.
Well, sometimes they're so lost in their thinking process that they're not in the moment.
They're not in the moment.
They're not in the moment. And that's the majority of people, I think.
And then do you know how many lives can be saved by just giving someone a hug because of what they're going through?
And it's such a small thing. But we say it's a small thing, but it's a big thing in actual fact.
For some people, it's a small thing. For some people, it's a big thing.
You're right. It just depends on the person. Yeah. So, Cobus, when that happened with your son, had you already climbed Kilimanjaro?
No, I haven't climbed Kilimanjaro.
Was that pre?
That was pre-Kilimanjaro, yeah.
Okay.
That's put me on the path of learning NLP and all of that.
What is NLP, sorry?
It's neuro-linguistic programming. So
you were talking about just now, yes. Okay. Reprogramming the brain, etc.
Yeah, and understanding that process. However, life will throw you challenges.
Always. There's always going to be challenges. And from my experience as well, like I've mentioned to you, I've done spiritual work for a long time. And even though you find a place where you've got a consistent peace, that doesn't mean your car doesn't break down or this happens. Life still happens, but it's more a question of how do you deal with it? Do you get lost in the stresses and the drama?
Yes.
Or do you take it from another perspective? You deal with what's happening because you've got to sort it out, but you don't get emotionally lost and charged and flipping, blaming the world for something that's happened. You're coming from a different place.
Yes.
So
and I think life then threw me that challenge, and I think my ex-wife took it difficult to have me go through because I was in a depression. I left the family business to follow this thing. I'm going to impact people, and then most people don't understand is that when you start a business, it's not like, it's like that thing, built it and they will come. They don't come. And not everyone wants to work it. You've got to work it. And not everyone knows you, and it's marketing, and then you can't walk. And so she decided this is not going to be for her, and she left. And that then impacted me even more. I even went more in my depression. And that got me to the path of where I went to climb Kilimanjaro.
So the Kilimanjaro was your turning point. That brought you out of that depression.
Yes.
Was it more from a sense of you've achieved something? Like there was a miracle that happened there because you went up, and you didn't die. Thank goodness. I'm glad you're still here. Otherwise, you would be sitting here right now. And then obviously it just, flowed from there. How long ago was the Kilimanjaro?
It was 2018, 9 July. That I went to climb, and went through all of that transformation. And then it took another, 6 years until 2022, and I went for a transformation. So I used to be Superman. I loved Superman. I grew up with Superman. And so my whole brand was around Superman. However, I realized I don't look like Superman anymore, and I don't fit in my Superman suit.
Yeah.
So change had to happen. And I got a coach, and they helped me to transition my brand from Superman to Viking. The whole idea around Viking, or what a Viking is. And then I realized part of the process was, what is our values? If I had to ask, what is your top 3 values?
That's a good question.
We don't know.
No, it's not something you think about.
Yeah, and when you don't live by your values, you attract people with same values, or people that test your values.
Okay.
And if you don't always know your values, you're going to be tested. And so the Vikings have certain values. And I attracted someone in my life that really tested me, that basically broke me again. And I realized, like, damn, why? Why is life throwing this stuff?
Why isn't this happening? Am I getting punished?
I literally got punished to a point. However, I think sometimes we don't realize that these things happen on our path to test us, to prepare us what comes.
To help us grow.
To help us grow. And it forced me, at that time, all my business dried up. Like, every quote that I would give out,
it just wasn't happening.
I was sitting at home and I'm like, shucks, what am I going to do? And it just got worse and worse. And then I remember I wanted to write my book. And one thing that I realized is that, let me ask you this question. Would you love to have, I see you have a lot of books in your room as well, to go to your book cupboard and pull out a book that was given down from your grandfather or grandmother?
I would love it.
And learn their stories and their lessons. It will mean a lot.
It would mean a lot.
That is legacy.
That's a big deal.
So I thought, if I had to die and I had this amazing story, but nobody's going to know about it.
No one's going to know about it. And also, when those stories get passed down to your kids, they change as they go. Yes. Now you got a book to...
And
this is the book, by the way.
Walking Through Fire,
whatever it takes. Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, I'm going to leave a legacy. So I started writing my book. I'm not a book writer. I can have all of the excuses in life. But I decided, it's one step at a time, like Kilimanjaro. Just keep moving forward.
Get your ideas down, whatever the case is. I mean, it's not a simple thing.
Yeah, it's not. Putting your life story, if you write something about that topic, it's different.
Yeah, you're right. It's...
you have to, I have to go. I can't tell someone to do it.
It's personal stuff, you know?
I have to go back and past and remember it and go for it.
Yeah.
And so it took me a year to do that. I kept on reminding myself when I was in Kilimanjaro when it was dark and you couldn't see where you were going. The guy told me, you have a headlamp, just look down. Just focus on giving your next step. That's all. You can't see the top, you can't see the end point, but you can see your next step. And I think sometimes we forget is like when we have load shedding and chaos around us, what is your next step that you need to give? And that's a life lesson, I think, for a lot of people.
That is a big lesson. I'm liking it. Carry on.
And I went and wrote my book, and I launched it, funny enough, at the same time as in July, when I went to climb Kilimanjaro. So it was just...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
how
crazy is that? Yeah. And everything changed after I did my book launch. My business exploded again. Quotes got accepted. It's like the universe and kind God was like saying, you just need to do this.
Yeah.
Imagine if I was busy. I wouldn't have had time.
No, never. If you were busy doing quotes and you were like running off your feet, seeing clients and doing your thing, you'd never have written the book.
I've never, yeah.
Or you'd have thought about it in another 10 years, if you were lucky.
I've been thinking of it since 2018 after I climbed Kilimanjaro. But I'm always too busy to do it because I don't know where to start. I'm like, I've never done it.
But it just shows you, because maybe what happened is all your information, your story needed to be told.
Yes.
And then it opened up.
It opens up, yeah.
Hey?
And interesting, in the book, I start with a letter towards my sons and to my parents as well, to thank them. And then I end up with my eulogy as if I would pass. So what do you have to read about me at my funeral? So I was writing it as if I was dying.
Sure.
And what I'm going to leave behind.
But it's touching, dude. It's touching. It's deep. Yeah. It's deep because so many people don't think about stuff like that. And often, I mean, I've got my own kids, and you grow up with them, and you've done stuff with them, etc., etc. And do they really know the true you? No, they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
I think with this podcast, they've gotten to know me on another level, which they don't really know what I'm about. But I haven't written a book, but I'm just thinking about people in general. That I think when your kids read that one day, they're going to see you in a different light from what you were perhaps when they were young.
And the thing is, I only see them on holidays. They stay in Jeffreys Bay, so they don't experience me a lot. So I do this, and even this podcast, to keep something behind. Because yes, you might not have written a book, but how many podcasts have you created? That will live on when you're not there.
Yeah,
that becomes sort of your legacy, that connection. Because I would love to have my grandfather was C.R. Schwartz, to have read his book, to have read his stories.
For sure. Can you imagine from what when was it? 18 something? I don't know.
Well, 1960.
I'm thinking about the 1800s.
Yeah, you're thinking before that.
Yeah. Okay, 1960.
Yeah, it was just the other day. He passed away a month after I was born, so I never got to know.
Okay, was he old?
Yeah, I think it was in his 80s. Yeah.
Like 80s. That's interesting. So, Cobus, I know you are the fireman,
Yes.
the firewalker, a master firewalker, I've heard.
Yeah, well, I went
How do you get? Do you go to master? You go to firewalking school, and I mean, I don't know.
There is a firewalking school.
Where is that?
I went to
On the sun.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. I looked. He's the one that made firewalking famous, and I went to look where he studied. And there's a guy by the name of Tolly Burkan that started it, the Fire Institute. And so I went to learn. And you don't only do firewalking; you do walking on broken glass. You bend steel with your throat. You break wooden boards and bricks with your hands. So you do crazy
So it's
things.
all just you're doing things that you're breaking down mental barriers.
Yes. And limiting beliefs.
All that limiting stuff.
Yeah.
Which you obviously you transfer to corporates or schools
and
or
audience.
whatever you're involved in.
And it's such powerful. And when I did it, then you have to go through 6 similar experiences where you learn to teach it. So it takes about 2-3 years to be able to complete it. And then I got trained in it, and now I train people to do it as well.
Oh, do you train them? So
Yeah.
they get qualified through you.
Yes.
And they can also go.
I've qualified about 150 people.
Oh, really,
through my school. And so
it's a lot of charcoal.
Yeah, and it's allowing those
just
people
gold.
to go impact more lives. So it expands the reach and the impact that I can have on.
And those are all
people's lives.
local people.
No,
Cobus?
international people
Is
from
it?
around the world, from New Zealand to Hungary to.
So do they come to you? Or is it kind of an online thing, or what is
No,
it?
they come to me. So
Really?
we go into the bush for 4.5 days.
Jeepers, that must be quite something from some who's never been in the bush. He comes from, I don't know, flipping
Yeah, from
some
around
European flipping country, eh?
Yeah, and then we include African experiences like walking with lions, elephant experience.
So it's grounding into like the origins of man, yeah.
So I've added to it just to make it African flavor.
Yeah, no, so it's got some flipping get your hands dirty kind of feel.
Definitely.
Hey?
So, and so I went on it. So I became the only one, and I really wanted to transform people and change people's lives, because not everyone wants to walk on fire.
No, one day we're going to do it, Russ.
Well, we've done glass.
So I wanted to quickly chat about that. You're going to see the thing. Cobus, when I called him the other day, he did mention bringing glass, and then I kind of forgot about it until he brought his very heavy suitcase full of glass.
I knew nothing about it.
Russell didn't know. Russell was thrown in the deep end and had to quickly learn how to keep his head above water. Yeah. And anyway, we did a little clip which we're going to show. And I'll be honest with you, when you put it down on the floor, just that sound. There was a level of kind of flashbacks to a kid and things breaking, and there's almost a fear with glass, I think. Maybe also because your parents are like, yes, you're busy breaking the glass, and they want to come and give you a clap.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's how fear is
part of it.
created.
That's how they create the fear.
Yeah. Do you know we are not born with fear? Basically,
I'm sure we're not. It's
the
a
only
program,
fear that
right?
we have is loud sounds and the fear of falling.
Really?
Yeah.
Those are natural kind of fears.
The rest
is inbred.
Yeah.
Programmed into us. So anyway, so we did it, and I'll be honest, I wasn't scared, Cobus. And I trusted you wholeheartedly.
That's the funny thing.
Cobus came here with a sense of this man has done it before, and there's knowledge. Anyway, I did it, and it was it felt prickly almost. There's a prickliness to it. Am I right?
Massaging your feet.
Yeah, it was kind of like what did you call it, Elion? Reflexology on steroids,
Yes.
And I'm actually glad I did it. I could feel it. Gave me a little bit of something shift. There was a little bit of a shift there. It was a small thing, a subtle thing, but a big thing.
And you'll only realize it again after you started thinking about it, and you're going to look at the video.
Yeah.
Really.
And it'll start to like kind of sink.
Yes.
Hey?
I did it.
No.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did
So
it.
I did it on the weekend for a group of ladies, and the one woman just says, just felt like our whole world was just dropped away.
Oh, really?
It was like she felt like she broke through
It was a big
a
thing.
big thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So everyone
nice.
has a different
No, it's different to
experience.
everyone. No, for 100%. Because I'm sure if someone is flipping skrikkerig of that, it's going to take a little bit of convincing and some, like building some confidence. And do you have that in your little workshops? I mean, there's some folks don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're going to always get it. And they always have the weirdest explanations and excuses and justifying why they can't.
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah. And
then
in the past,
you
I would...
can't force them.
Yeah, well, usually I
try.
I try to bring
Get
my
the whip out and flip an aim and come.
But then I forget my whip, man. It's like, okay. Then I say, okay, the most powerful thing is for you to make the choice. And then I have this phrase that says, live without regret.
Yeah.
Because I've had people in the past come back and like, shucks, I should have done it.
I should have done it.
Yeah, so, well, come to the next
Come do it
one.
again.
I've had people come 3 years later that took 3 years that have been at my events, and only 3 years later that they walk on the fire or the broken glass.
It's just, I find it interesting, and we're talking about like how that fear is programmed into people. Like,
Give you an example. My youngest started walking on glass and fire when he was 2 years old. My oldest was at an age where I just started, and he's born on the same day as my mom. And I just want to tell people how powerful is it when someone of authority programs you.
okay.
So he looked up very to his grandmother.
Yeah.
And so he saw me walking on fire, and I said he must come to the event, and he told his grandmother he's going to walk on fire. And her words to him was, you can't, you're going to get burned.
So that already just
those words.
just
When he
blocked
got
it.
to the event,
Yeah.
he hesitated the whole time. And I'm like, but why? And he's
What's
like,
going
but
on?
Oma says I'm going to get
Yeah.
burned. And parents don't realize the power that we do when we speak to our kids, you can't do it, or money doesn't grow on trees, or this is not possible, or...
It's all that limiting beliefs, man.
Yeah, and they take it because not only you, if it's a hero that they're looking up to, and they say something, that it gets programmed.
Yeah.
It took about 6 or 7 years for him to come at all my events.
Before he did it.
Before he did it, yeah. I remember the night he didn't want to
yeah.
come, and I said, just come. I need someone to take photos and videos for me. So I gave him a job, a purpose to be there. So he came and
motivation.
And like, you don't have to worry. I will not put pressure
Yeah.
on you, because he always felt like he's a failure by not doing it because his brother did it, and he thinks I expect of him to do it. And I told him there's no expectations. If you do it, you do it. It's not. And that night he went through it, he listened, and he came in front of the fire when I was filming, and I'm like, oh, you're going to walk? He says, yeah. And he broke that fear that he had and that limiting
How old
belief.
was he at that stage?
11 years old.
Still young. That is still young. I must say, I think when I was 11, I'd probably be like,
Yeah, and he vibrated like this to say, like, I can't believe I did it. I'm like, no, you
afterwards
can't.
he was on a high.
They said, you must believe it, you just did it. And since then he's done it a few times. And so his belief and confidence has grown.
And you know what I think as well, and you're doing such incredible work actually, Cobus, because when people are, those are like big blockages, walking on fire, broken glass or whatever, it's like a big thing because it's physical as well. But I think it makes people become more aware of the other blockage, the other kind of walls that are built around through their belief systems that are limiting them in life. And often what we find is, and I'm talking for myself, often the things that you avoid the most are the things you're supposed to flip and be facing.
Yeah.
And when you do face them, then things shift.
Yes, and that shift is where the power lies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sometimes have to be walking on fire and walking on glass. It's challenging yourself out of your comfort zone. So I was brought up very protective, and so very scared and introvert, not taking chances. And all of this has helped me to shift. And so in the beginning of the year, I asked myself, what is my next Kilimanjaro? I ended up being interviewed like this for a program, and I said to myself, maybe I should try acting. And so this year...
That's something?
Yeah, so this year I got an agent, and so they represent me, and they're sending me now to auditions. And it's a fear. You know, I'm like, but I can walk on fire.
Yeah.
When I get there,
Yeah.
there's like 100 others there for an audition for, I've been to a commercial now, for TV. So far, I haven't gotten any. However, it's a learning process. Do you know that fear where it's like, where there's a camera and you're the only one
There's
and
a
the
bit
rest
of,
are
there's
looking at
something
you?
tingling inside there. There's a little
And they're
bit of,
judging you. So
Yeah.
like, can this guy act or not?
who is this flippin' oak?
And then you have to give your best shot. And what growth that has been, that uncomfortable. And that's what I told people. All of this is just metaphors for helping you to excel to the next level, to grow. Because the only thing that you can control is the person inside of you, is your internal world. It's like this little kid comes to his mom and asks, Mom, I'm bored, give me something to do. The mom goes around and finds a map of the world in the newspaper. She takes it out and she tears it into pieces and she says, yes, my son, go put it together. After a while, the son comes back and he's fixed it. And the mom says, but my son, how did you do that? And he says, Mom, it was actually so interesting experience. When I turned the pieces around, I saw the face of a person. And I started fixing the person. And the moment the person was fixed, I turned it around and the world was fixed.
I like that.
So it starts with fixing yourself.
Yeah, it starts here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest gift we can give to the world is start with ourselves.
Yes.
You can't just, people thinking, God, we've got to go fix the world. Start with yourself, and then it will start
Yes.
going out from there.
The outside will automatically change.
Like you doing your book, suddenly everything just shifted.
Yes.
You're sitting here, you've done firewalking, you're helping oaks from all over the world. They've come to train with you, and they've helped other people. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's just like wildfire there,
Yes.
going out into the world.
It's like throwing that rock into the pool and then all those ripples.
Tell me a little bit, Cobus, about the Viking philosophy stuff. Like, I know you know, what is that about? I don't really know the Viking stuff, but like from your perspective, I mean, it's about taking action, that kind of thing?
I did a DNA test first on my condition to so I come from northern Germany.
Kind of your history,
yeah. Denmark, Norway, that area.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, there was also a Viking show on TV. And I started studying because people's perception first of Vikings is that they were pillagers and all of that. But they were the ones that always goes on a quest, on a journey to discover new things. And so they actually were the first.
Actually, they were the explorers, those oaks.
Yes, and they were they found Americas before Christopher Columbus. So they explored.
That's quite amazing.
Do you know they were the cleanest nation in that time?
No.
They bathed on a weekly basis. They used soap.
Oh, really? They weren't like the rest of us who were like
they were
rotting back in the
They found that the men had combs and tweezers to look after themselves.
To manicure themselves a bit.
They were fearless.
Yeah.
They had freedom. They had good faith in their
religions, etc. Yeah.
And the women were equal to the men. It was
actually, you mentioned that the one day. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so they have left a big legacy that still impacts us today. The royal family of England can trace their roots back
also to them.
Yeah, because the Normans became Normandy. So the French gave Normandy to the Vikings. Out of the ruler from there came William the Conqueror that went on to conquer England.
Yeah.
That became the royal family there that still rules today.
That is
Ireland was
big influence.
Had a big influence of Viking philosophy. Today, if you go think about the Scandinavian countries, they are the most evolved. They have the best education. So all of that still has an impact of today.
You're right. Actually, you look at Finland. I think it's that's.
So you will notice my you can have a photo of this.
We'll put it on the post as well.
I have one side of it is dressed as a Viking, and then the new side.
You've done. Oh, okay. Like
you see,
yes, modern and
so
and kind of historical.
The story about it is we need to learn from our history, otherwise we're destined to repeat it. It's not just yesterday, but what can we learn from the past? We all have a past. Somewhere we are all connected to long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's it's to go back to those values and those standards that formed us to
Yeah,
who we are today.
yeah.
But also then transition into the new.
I like that.
Where
You see
we-
it both
Yes, I
both
see
halves, yeah.
Yeah. So what can we impact? What
Yeah.
is the future like that we can form now? So we have the power to form the future. And so part of the Vikings also that I love, that I want to share with you, is the values of a Viking.
Okay.
So, there's 9 virtues or values, as they say it, of the Vikings. And I've created my blueprint.
I like, yeah, that's a lovely image.
So I have, just quick so for people to see, but there's 2 axes.
Yeah.
The axis is all about creating, but also have a tool to fight,
Yes,
So
yes.
that. And then there's a sword, but part of the whole thing is there's a compass. So what is our North Star? Where are we going? So it's to have purpose and vision for ourselves. Otherwise, we perish. And the Vikings always had a North Star, a star that they followed to where they're going. And then there's the values. So one is heart. Vikings had heart that they lived by. They had courage. They weren't scared for nothing, right? They had honor. They lived by a certain truth. They had discipline. They liked to take action. They had consistency. They were consistent in what they do. They lived by truth. They had fidelity, that means loyalty and family.
Okay.
And they persevered.
Yeah.
They persevered no matter how.
Perseverance is a huge thing.
Yeah. So that then became all the philosophy around what I live by, as there's values, virtues. If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. And that's part of what I teach people and businesses is, what is your values? What is those values so my 3 values, for example, is freedom. I really want to be free. That's why I'm an entrepreneur in a business and I can't work for someone.
Yeah.
Then the other is courage. The stuff that I do, you have to have courage.
No, it's courage. 100%.
I challenge my clients to step out of the comfort zone, to do things differently. And then the last one is legacy. What is the legacy that I want to leave behind?
Yeah.
It's not just the legacy of a book, but how do I
goes
make people
deeper than
feel
that.
when I
Yeah.
leave? Will they remember me?
And I'm sure they do. But I saw something on your Instagram the other day. It was about kindness within business. And that's something that you don't see often. When people are in business together, where they've got staff, etc., that like works for me, you must listen to what I say, kind of attitude to life. Well, how does kindness come in when you are bringing that into a business
Environment.
scenario or environment, what do you call it?
So it's not only with people. So the whole thing is about how do we scale our businesses? What makes successful businesses stand out from other businesses? So it's not only kindness to your staff, it's kindness to your customers. It's looking after other people. It's about paying it forward. It's about giving it back. It's about, you're not just a number. It's about caring. It's about serving.
I mean, it's another human being. It's giving,
Yes.
opening your heart up.
Yes, it's being soft. The CEOs that I'm working with, they have this thing that CEOs are psychopathic and they just want results and just want.
Yeah, they're just like number driven.
Yes, and most of them are like that.
Yeah.
And what I found is when I start working with them, they feel like there's a disconnect between them and their people.
Yeah.
And so get to a point where it's not just a number, it's not a people, but how can we care for this? How can we be kind in the small moments? Because when we give people a purpose of living and being part of a bigger vision, they change. The whole environment change. So they've done a study that shows that if you get your employees to be part of a bigger purpose and a vision and giving back, being kind to others. So by creating initiatives where it's not like money towards charity, but it's incorporating them and making them a part of the process of giving back, of being kind to each other, being kind to our community.
Incorporate, getting them to participate in a community project or whatever the case may be.
They found that those employees hardly ever leave the business.
They become loyal to them as well.
Because suddenly
they're content.
It's not about money anymore.
Yeah.
It's about we have a purpose. We're actually making a difference.
Yeah.
So why would you want to leave that? To go to another business where you're just a number.
And you never meet the boss.
You never meet the boss. So one thing I challenge, so there's one business I'm working with. It's a factory and they manufacture. I'm not going to mention names.
No, don't.
However, I've challenged the CEOs, for example, every day in the morning, they have to put it in their calendar. They have to go walk around the factory, go greet people.
Yeah, hi. How's it? Whoever.
Yeah.
George.
And do it in such a way where you ask them an open-ended question. Because the one thing that I challenge people is not to ask, because we're used to asking certain questions. So when you meet someone, what's the first thing you go out when you greet them? What is the first thing you say to them? What's the first question?
I don't know.
How are you?
How are you? Yeah. How are you feeling? Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm okay.
And they're like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, there's an automatic
It's too
response.
easy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's miserable.
Yes. So you have to ask an open-ended question. So sometimes one of the questions is like, I just want to ask you, today when you woke up, what is the one thing that you're actually proud of?
A
Or
different kind
excited
of,
about,
yeah.
or
What are you excited
grateful
about?
about,
How are
yeah.
your kids? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
Yeah. So
Or whatever
ask
the
the
case
people
is.
to
Yeah.
start thinking about the question they're going to answer, and then they're going to feel like, but wow, you actually care for me. You're actually interested in who I am.
Yeah.
You're not just asking
On a
about
personal
how am I
level.
doing. Yes. And or you ask, when was the last time you were happy? You start thinking, you're not going to have an answer. Okay, great. So maybe that's something to think about. Creating more happy moments. And here's the thing: is where you create kindness and being and caring for other people is when they respond and listen. Listen to what the words they use, so that when you respond back, you use the same words, and people will excel even more because they will know, wow, this person.
He's actually listening.
Yes.
He's hearing me.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between within a conversation where you having a discussion and people just the mind just wants to jump in with your own my own story.
Yes.
But you're not listening. You can only listen when you don't have that all that chit chat.
Yes.
When you can focus on that person, and when you're focusing on that person, you're listening to that person.
Yes.
You're not planning your response. There's a big difference there.
Acknowledging.
Yeah.
So do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Kindness is it's not just about being kind.
No, there's an interaction.
Yes. It's about caring. It's about seeing the person. It's about, wow.
And when that goes home to his wife, he's like, the boss actually came and now the boss comes every morning. How's it? How are the kids? Or whatever. Are you happy?
Yeah. Whatever.
He cares.
Every day
He
different.
cares. I was thinking of ducking and I flip and hate him, but now I don't hate him so much. Or whatever the case is,
A small thing like that shifts businesses, and that's why I believe businesses can scale, because not everyone is doing it. If you find it, and when times get tough, what's the first thing businesses do? They retrench. Just in South Africa
they cut the people that are.
Yes, because
maybe
we're
not
struggling, we
needed.
have to cut costs.
And South Africa's economy is in trouble.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
However, the
Yeah.
business that I'm working with have all grown. They have not let people go, and they're actually hiring more. Because here's the thing: is if you are kind, empowering, people want to be part of the business. They start taking ownership. They start not printing 10 pages anymore. They now try to print as less as possible. Their area is clean because they know the business is. We need to look. It's our business. If we don't,
Let's look after it together.
Suddenly, the business excels.
Yeah.
Because remember, you work with energy a lot, right? If your energy shifts, it has a ripple effect, and you start attracting customers. And like, oh, now business is good. No, it's your energy shifted that
That's
attracted
why it's
it.
happening.
Because the thing is, it's like a light.
Yeah.
And you just now becoming the light for all the moths to come to. So has the environment changed? The economy is probably still the weak, but the people coming to you would have gone to your competitors.
But on some level, they sense something different.
Yes.
There's an energy level. There's there's an attraction, etc. And on that level, something has shifted.
And then you attract all the business. Guess who's going to complain that the market and the business is bad and laying off people? It's the competitors that don't have.
They'll be like, get hold of Cobus. Actually, don't. You're going to steal my people.
Yeah.
But now, so do you mainly deal with the management?
Management, and then a little bit with the people. Because the thing is, the change has to happen from management. I can do whatever at the bottom.
Yeah, it has to go from the
if the management doesn't
top down. Hey?
Yeah, it has to be from an. Otherwise, it will never change.
So do you? I mean, I'm sure you've been around doing it for a while. So a company that sees that you've to help them. I mean, you must be getting referrals.
Definitely get referral.
It must happen, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like,
and sometimes some of the CEOs is just stuck. They just don't see.
they're
the
not
change.
interested.
Yeah, and they rather.
But then what do? You can't.
Yeah,
You
can't force them to.
You do your bit.
Yeah,
well,
I've
I
had
can't help you.
companies come back to me later on and say, like, yeah, we should have actually started with you, but we thought we can do it ourselves.
But now they come back.
Yeah, then they come back because they start feeling it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I give a money back guarantee.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So it's a 12-month journey. However, you need to prove that everything we set out that you're going to implement, you implement it. Otherwise, I can't give it back to you.
Oh, so they pay you,
Yeah,
and
because
so
it's like good at
you're
gym.
committing. That's a commitment, eh?
Yeah, but it's actually simple philosophy. You go to gym. I saw your son.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Looking strong.
So he goes. He probably goes once a month to gym, right? And he looks like that. Am I right?
No, not really. He trains hard.
Okay. So imagine now I get him without looking like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I tell him, okay, we're going to create for you a coaching
A program.
Okay. Now you have a program. Next
Yeah.
is we're going to look at your nutrition. Okay, create a program of your nutrition. Then we're going to look at supplements. What supplements do you need, right? So what is your
Diet.
And
that.
diet.
Yeah.
So what's your vision? You want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So it's not
I want to
once.
weigh 100 kilos.
Yeah. So it's not once a day. You're probably going to go 2 days.
Yeah.
6 meals a day, for example.
And you're going to be chomping.
Now, most people leave people alone. Okay, now you're going to go do it. Guess what? After a month, 2 months, probably would have stopped, right? Most of the people.
Yeah.
So here's the next thing. Okay, you need a coach. That's where I come.
Yeah. Cobus is going to watch you every flipping day.
Accountable.
How much are you charging?
Now, here's the thing is when they train,
Yeah.
most people in the gym, right, do 10 sets.
I'm
Then
a
they
bit
rest,
tired.
they take selfies. and-
yeah. Sounds like you, Russ.
but imagine now you have a coach. After 10 reps,
He's like, no, bro. You're
can
doing
do
another
2.
5 now, China.
yes, push it.
Yeah.
Come on, I believe in you. Now you do that 5. Now you rest. No, not a minute. 30 seconds. I'm counting now. Okay, ready. Let's go. Second set. Tell me that process. What's the chances out of 100 that you will get to a similar physique? Not the same, a similar physique as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
There's a
If,
good
if you're
chance.
pushing it like that.
Depends on your build. It might be
Yeah.
Arnold. It might be someone
Whatever,
else.
but you're going to look good.
You're going to look good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's it.
Do you think that it's not possible?
Yeah, no, it's possible. And,
Come on.
and once you, for instance, you've got your recipe,
Yes.
you're just going to make sure they stick to that recipe.
Yes. Now, if they don't, whose fault is it?
Well, then there's
They
no
can't
money
blame
back
it.
guarantee, buddy.
Yeah, they can't blame me.
Yeah. But how do you know they're not? That's the problem.
Yeah, but there's measurements, right?
You
there's
put in
targets.
measurements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yes.
Yeah.
If I do small things. I say,
Okay.
okay, this month we're going to read a book.
Okay.
They don't read the book. Whose fault is it? No, you committed to
Okay.
reading a book. Yeah, but it's not impacting. How do you know it wouldn't have impacted your business? If
You
you
haven't
can't do
taken
the
the steps.
small things,
Yeah.
how do I know you're going to
Yeah.
do the big things?
Because actually, I'm sure you must have experienced it with, say, the CEO who starts doing this, and he's like, it opens up a whole, takes the blinkers off, opens up a whole world to
Yes.
him of like, actually, you're right. This has made a big difference to this flipping business.
Because the thing is,
You know?
a book, I see you love books, I've mentioned it before, and I
Yeah.
think how many of those books, if you take out one nugget, changed your life?
But that's all you need is that one nugget.
Yeah.
You remember one little thing.
So like CEOs,
Yeah.
I get them to read autobiographies of other big
Okay.
CEOs and people that have made success.
Yeah.
Salespeople, go read sales books.
Yes.
Because the thing is, if you're struggling sales, is go learn sales books or go learn what is sales. It's also body language. Go
Yeah.
learn body language.
Yeah.
Go learn communication styles because you're probably not communicating correctly with your clients. That's books. That's self-development. And if they don't do that, they're always going to be in the cycle. Yeah, but this stuff doesn't work.
But they're not trying new things. They're not opening up their whole consciousness to new concepts in whatever the case is.
One thing
Yeah.
is they found with a study in Harvard is that the way you start your morning, your habits, your morning habits, can depend if you're going to be successful or not. So if CEOs have a great habit in the morning where they exercise and they meditate, the energy shifts, so they
Kind of gets them into a
they get
space.
20 to 36% more results than the normal CEO would.
How much?
20 to 36%.
20 to 36.
Yeah.
Just if they exercise and meditate
Their habit in the morning. Oh, what
Whichever
successful habits,
which
yeah.
one first, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't
Either
matter,
way.
Yeah. Maybe a cold plunge, an ice plunge,
Yeah,
a
just to
gratitude
flip and
journal.
kickstart.
Just to have a
Go for a
different
cycle, 20
chemistry.
Ks or whatever, get back.
So the one business I've been working with now, the last 4 months, in their 130 years history, have had their best months of 130 years.
Unbelievable.
cheaper. You should be getting a percentage of the profits.
So
man.
look, when I
It's
quote,
just gone up.
when I quote, I usually go in. So they said no. I go and say I give my price, and they're like, no, it's what you gonna do? You charge us that.
What are you talking
I said to her, I can charge half. I'm like, okay, that's fine. However, I'm not going to give you that discount. I said, I will charge you half, but then I want profit share. Because I said, you have nothing to lose. If you don't make the money, I don't get the money, and you've scored and you paid me less.
Yeah, so your sales have gone up 2%, which could be worth flipping.
Depending on the business, yeah. The one business, I remember the one year, it was like a 6-figure amount. It's like,
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, well,
The CEO didn't like it, right, when you wrote that. I said, yeah, but that was our agreement.
Yeah.
And did you make the money? Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And you made profits anyway.
Profits. It has to be on the
Yeah.
There has to be
It's
profit.
from that point onwards.
Yes.
But the economy just improved. No, not really. It's not like that.
Yes. You still made the profit.
Yeah.
You make less, but at least we created momentum because you're going to make more profits.
You definitely
So
got
there's one
you've got a
business-
good business mind there.
Yeah. The one business came back and says, no, we rather pay you what you ask for because we don't want to do profit shares. I like, yeah, so you know this is going to work.
Yeah. I said, good. It shows there's faith.
Yes, and they do the things, and I think that's the one thing is, and also I choose the clients I want to work with because if you after 3 months and I'm still struggling you to do things, I'd rather walk away because it's peace of mind for me.
Okay.
I don't want to struggle.
You don't want to just like
I don't
force
want
it.
force you to come to the gym and then do the exercise and you complain all the time and next time
And
you
business is
complain.
cuck and you're still complaining.
Yes, and you don't do anything
Yeah.
about it, and we've agreed you're going to do it. Like, no, sorry, I walk away. I've given you the opportunity because my name is important. I want I want the fun. I want the result.
You're enjoying it and you're getting rewarded when you see that. You're like, check what we've done.
And then the one client that looks at me and says like, I don't know if it's because of you, the results. We started making money before you came, and I'm like, they're trying to justify it. No,
I love
like
that. They're gonna love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, like we landed this one big client. We've been working on them for a year. I say, yeah, but maybe my magic shifted
Who's
the
gonna
energy.
know? Who's gonna know? Because it's
Because before I came, there was a lot of problems, and now.
But they still came to the party.
I believe the shift in energy
It's the energy shift.
Like the one business, the 1 year we worked on, their total budget was 96 million. And I said to them, make a vision board of all the companies you want to work with, projects you want. They go that year, they close all of them. They went from a 96 million company to a 250 million rand company. And they say, nah. I said, no, your energy
You should have been on
shifted.
profit sharing, were you?
I should have.
You would have been like, you wouldn't be sitting here, be retired in Bali.
They thought it was impossible. It's not possible. But their energy shifted. They landed all the clients. Here's the thing is,
when you walk into their place, they're actually on their knees. Like,
we created the values, what their values, and they communicated just their values to these clients. That there was one client that was busy signing with someone else and then heard their vision and their values.
and just switched.
And just connected with that. It's like, no, we'd rather do business with you. But they are more expensive than the market and than the competitors.
Are they?
And so people were willing to pay more because of their value system and their vision of what they want to achieve.
So they got that clear, and then things changed.
Yes.
And they shared that.
Yes. You have to share
They did not know it before.
Yeah, because the thing is, you have to share it. It's not just sharing the word value.
Yeah. It's like, what do you
honor.
stand for?
Yeah, what does define that for me?
Yeah.
Suddenly, it speaks to people's hearts because let's be honest. In the world today, how many people's word can you take on just their word anymore?
Very, very few.
The world has
it's become
people
a
are
mess.
looking for something that are real and it's not fake and that speaks to their soul. Authentic.
That's our thing as well. You know what we love about the show, Cobus? You want people to be authentic. Authentic.
Yeah.
Coming from that deeper place. Not all this show business shit all day long.
Yeah.
Be authentic.
Yeah, just put it out there and put your mistakes out there and just be real, man.
And if things are a mess, be honest. That's how it is. What can we do to fix it?
Definitely.
Hey?
Definitely.
But you know what? Buy the book. Russell's going to put it up on the podcast. And Cobus, I want you to send us all your bits and pieces, Instagram, your flippin' TikTok, your whatever you're on.
Luckily, I have one link.
Oh,
and the
gee,
link
does it
opens
copy
to have
everything?
all of them, yeah.
And we're gonna put it. Russell will do it as on the page underneath. And I must be honest, it's been enlightening. Cobus, you're a blessing, my man.
Thank you. My
Thank
friend.
you. I appreciate. Russell,
Cheers, cheers.
There's all
like
cheers.
and subscribe, people.
Yeah, definitely. Have to follow.
Follow.
Yeah, and comment below. Let us know what you thought
Let
about
us
it.
know.
And your ideas and questions and
Or anything any questions for Cobus,
I will
we'll send
come
it
and
on to him.
respond. No, we'll come and
Yeah.
respond. Just can comment away. Yeah, and let's do it.
I'd like to know what people's values are. I want to hear what's
Yeah,
Yes.
put your values on. What are your values?
Yes.
It's something I'm considering what mine are, to be honest. It's not something I think about,
Yes.
you know?
Definitely, brother.
sweet.
That was flipping nice, man. Thank you,
Thanks for
Cobus.
you, man.
How was it for you? I mean,
It's all
this is
about
like a
that.
walk in the park for you, but but I suppose it's different with every person.
Yeah, I
Different
think
things
it's
come
about
out, hey?